Hey everybody, I wanted to make a follow-up video to my previous video about this saw that I picked up. It's a Homelite Supermini. I got a wicked deal on it. I got it for 30 bucks off an estate. This one was in really good shape, really well taken care of. I imagine that the issue I'm going to talk about, which is pretty common amongst these saws, is what this gentleman ran into, and then he probably just shelved the thing and it sat around for who knows how many years. Anyways, I just picked this up last week, took it apart, cleaned the carb, cleaned the air filter, cleaned everything inside, went and replaced the spark plug on it, and new fuel, everything, and she just would not start. Great compression, wasn't getting any spark. I pulled the plug out and checked, it wasn't getting any spark. So one of the issues with these saws that I found out about was when they were made with a specific blue ignition coil, which is known or was known to fail on these things. Now, there's many replacement options. Most of them are Chinese, cheap knockoffs. And from the research I've done, they're not worth the money at all. They're garbage. Sometimes they don't even last right out of the box. They won't even work. So this is a easy at-home fix you can do to resurrect that blue ignition coil and bring it back to life. So I'm going to show you where it's located on the saw, how to remove it, and then I'll get into what I did to bring this thing right back. I fired it up this morning. I'll fire it up at the end of the video to show you. It's running pretty mint now. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the cover on the left side of the saw with the pull start. So you got 4 flathead screws here. You take those out and this is going to pop right off. All right, so once you've removed all the 4 bolts, this is simply just going to pop right off. And that's our culprit right there. This is your ignition coil. This is what you're going to have the issues with more than likely most of the time with these saws. Great little saws, they're little powerhouses, they're Canadian made. But these things tended to fail quite often. So I'm not going to remove this for the sake of the video, just because I've already gone through the steps. But you're essentially going to remove this little screw here and this little screw here. You're going to pull this connector off, and this whole unit, including this metal bracket here, is simply going to slide out. Now you will have to remove the boot off of the spark plug cable here. You just pull this out and it'll slide right through, and you're going to take that whole piece out as a whole. Now once you've got that ignition coil removed, what you're going to do is, if you can get a crock pot, which is what I used personally, or a toaster oven, what you're going to do, I took the entire unit with the spark plug cable, I put it in my crock pot. I coated the crock pot in aluminum foil just to keep any oil and gas, whatever, from getting in there, so I don't have to clean it. Coated the inside of my crock pot with aluminum foil. I placed the ignition coil in the crock pot and I turned it on the low setting. I don't have a fancy crock pot. It doesn't tell me what temperature that is, but from what I've read, it's around 200 degrees. Now I left that in there overnight for about 12 hours. And this morning I pulled it out, reassembled the entire saw, put it back in, and now it runs mint, fired up second pull, I believe. So this is a really easy solution to the issue. If you have one of these saws or you come across one, and you can get it for pretty cheap, if the guy you're buying it off of tells you he can't get it to start and he doesn't know why and he's tried everything, take a look at that coil. If you get one of these things open, it has that blue coil, more likely than not, that's the culprit. Slap that thing in a crock pot or a toaster oven, 200 degrees for 12 hours, and you're probably going to bring that thing back to life. I'll go ahead and fire the saw up so you can see it running now. Again, I don't know how long it's been since it ran last, but I've ran it a few times today since using this method, and it seems to run pretty good. Now, I am missing the tensioner screw on this, so the chain is pretty loose, in case anyone was wondering. So I'm not really going to throttle it up too much, but I will give it a good pull, get it going so you can see it in running fashion. you go, first pull. Start baking your ignition coils in the crock pot, and you'll bring your saw back to life.